on the air. As I mentioned, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa. And this is a mesmerizing moment, Leonard, because it goes to show you anytime a journalist asks a question that could hold the president to account, he always attacks. And in this case, the reporter asks about, again, this $400 million Qatar plane. And listen to this interaction. And now not only does he not answer it, but he completely attacks the reporter. Have a listen to this.
Okay.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced that it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, you got to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that.
He doesn't answer the question, and he always gets immediately defensive. Doesn't talk about this supposed $400 million gift that they were just nice enough to give to Donald Trump. Doesn't answer the question, attacks the reporter, attacks the network, anybody who questions him on anything, Leonard.
You know, it when I was watching it in real time, I immediately thought that Trump tries to bring out a lot of non-significant or semi-significant issues to deflect from what's really going on. And my impression of the reporter was, I'm here to be a reporter. And yes, I know you have this little thing going on with South Africa, but I want to ask you about what was just announced. And I want to ask you about what's really important. And I'm not going to sit here and let you hide the ball while we talk about crosses that were not grave sites and lines of cars that went to go see, was part of a car club or something like that. And so in my impression is, and the reason he gets defensive is, in his mind, for some reason, you should ask the questions, that softball questions that he most likely is going to answer. He felt bad because he got ambushed, but he ambushed the president of South Africa with a video presentation and printouts, which some of them were accurate. But in the reporting on CNN, they said of the 30 murders from April 2024 to December 2024, only 7 of them were actually white people. And so, and I don't think any of them, I know there was an attack on a farm by the workers that killed some people. But I think that letting 35 people into the country under this refugee program, when you have a president in front of you who's trying to talk about trade and increasing America's presence in South Africa, China's going to take they're going to take all of Africa. China's already working for all the minerals, all the gold, all the diamonds. They're already helping them out. And by the way, I'd like to mention that China dropped food on Gaza, and when Israel tried to intimidate them, China said, we'll end you. China stood up to them because they don't play games and there's no lying. And so I think the dynamic is that a dictator's trying to be a dictator in a country that doesn't accept dictators. Even his own party won't vote for his big, beautiful bill.
You know what I noticed, Leonard, is that when people are really defensive, they have something to hide. Example. Notice when somebody claims that Donald Trump is racist, by the way, I do believe he's racist, he gets very upset and he says, I'm the least racist person you've ever met. Right. And anybody that gives you like extreme defensive backlash, it usually means they have something to hide. Every single time a reporter asked him a question that is not only a valid question, but maybe could hold him to any sort of accountability at all, not an ass-kissing question, he gets defensive, he gets angry, usually doesn't address the actual question that is asked.
Can I give you a quote? And I don't know who created, so I'm sorry. But he quoted people as saying, every accusation is an admission.
Right.
Think about that. Isn't that exactly, every accusation is an admission that you're the fake media, you're the fake news. How much news was put out this morning that was inaccurate?
You're right.
Tons of it.
You're
and
right.
it was fact checked almost in real time. I got to give CNN kudos because they fact checked it almost in real time. And then they put on a gentleman from Kenya who has been covering South Africa for, I think he said 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
And he set the record straight on everything.
Yeah. So again, he's very defensive when it comes to being asked about this $400 million jet gift. By the way, I believe he's going to take it home with him. I really, truly believe that. I don't think he's ever going to be in that plane as president of the United States. That's my personal opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. Then, of course, Donald Trump thinks that there's genocide going on. And he's talked about this time and time again in South Africa, and he pointed to a video that they played, and the video is showing a field with all these crosses. By the way, that's not a gravesite. It's not a gravesite. So again, it's a complete conspiracy theory. It's already been debunked. He literally showed a video to the president of South Africa, and the president's like, well, what is this? This isn't a gravesite. It's been proven it's not a gravesite. It's an area where some people lost their lives, but there's nobody buried there, and it's not genocide, and it's not a gravesite. So this is the moment where Donald Trump is going after this reporter again, and he's talking about this alleged genocide, which, by the way, didn't happen. Have a listen to this.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that
To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couples say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is indeed true?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
Oh, he's just a bad president, and he's such a bad person, and he's a very bad liar, too, if there's any such thing of that. And here's the moment. This is another very interesting moment, Leonard, in that this is the South African president who almost is poking the bear a little bit and makes a joke in a weird, snide way, which I thought was kind of funny. Well, I'll just play the audio here, but it's about the plane, the gift. Have a listen to this.
That idiot talks about, after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So that was in a way, a little bit of a cheap shot where the South African president is almost mocking Donald Trump for accepting this $400 million gift. And again, Donald Trump going after the reporter, Leonard.